Hello, Oliver. Thanks for joining us today. We've just discussed, we've just had a panel and discussed about our distressed opportunities in Germany. Would you like to run through a bit of what you think the German distress market is heading to in terms of opportunities in different sectors? Thank you.
I think the consensus on the panel was today that shipping is a big focus for everyone in Germany, especially given the KG structure that we have. Then we have photovoltaic or alternative energy. That's a big thing these days. We see, especially in the insolvency landscape, that a lot of these photovoltaic companies have gone into insolvency. So that's a big opportunity for distressed. Then the next thing is automotive, where we are seeing early stages of distress, and everyone was kind of expecting that will get worse in the next 6 months. So there are most likely the opportunities that everyone will be focused on in these sectors.
And we've also discussed a lot about the ESUG, the new insolvency law, which was implemented in Germany in March this year. Do you think it's going to be solving problems for every single company? Is it really the medicine for everything, as a lot of lawyers would like it to be? Or do you think it's just a useful tool to restructure companies?
Well, I think it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Of course not. It can't be, and it was never intended to be that way. But I think it is definitely better than what we had before. Of course, it has faults, and people are complaining about it. But let's give it some time and see what the actual impacts will be. The early phases that we've seen so far are fairly promising. I think what everyone is agreeing on is that it adds at least transparency to the whole process, so that's good. And even if it doesn't always work, I mean, there were some examples mentioned today where the process didn't work as was anticipated by sponsors, but at least you can see why it hasn't worked and why the decision was then taken differently. So I think the transparency aspect gives credibility to the new insolvency law, and that's good, especially for Anglo-Saxon investors who are very much used to Chapter 11. I think it's still far from being Chapter 11 or anything close to it, but it is definitely a step in that direction, and I think the legislator does want to move in that direction, and now we just have to see how it will be filled with life in the next maybe year or two, and maybe in next year's event we'll have already a few more test cases where we can say, well, here it has worked very well, or there maybe it hasn't worked that well. But I think it's too early to kind of generally say it's a good thing or a bad thing. My view is more, it is a step in the right direction, and let's give it some time.